Dynamite. We talked a lot about AEW. And so let's review a bit of AEW. Quite a bit. We want to talk about big business. It just happened last night. But first, I just wanted to start by saying the last episode of Dynamite last week, I put it over a lot, man. The new aesthetic is good. I think them using the white ropes and the LED boards and shit so that when people are flipping channels, they might think it's WWE, just like the people who were working at All In. So that's a good move marketing wise or whatever. The aesthetic was good. People are going to trip out at me. I like the Young Bucks' character. They should have did this with Punk. They would have drawn $1 billion if they did this with Punk. I'm not saying like, oh, it's the greatest thing, but this is what they should have been leaning into, doing the victory lap around the ring, and they should have worked this same exact angle with Punk. I like that they brought Okada in and flipped him heel. They're apparently paying Okada $4.5 million. Dave Meltzer said, no, it's not that much. It's actually more like $4 million. Well, the Wembley gate sold 45,000. So
it's $500,000 between friends.
Yeah, that should have been in the Dave Meltzer fucking dumb moment of the week segment as well. But so the 4 mil, like, you know, the Wembley show this year, fucking the gate, like they sold 45,000 tickets that apparently got them 5. So think about that, guys. You can't tell me they're making money when they're paying the Bucks NBA level contracts, and then Kenny Omega, Jericho, Mox, all these big names. What is Mercedes getting paid? We're going to talk about that in a bit. We have numbers. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But you can't tell me they're making fucking money. They're losing money hand over fist. Their biggest shows can't draw enough money to fucking pay for all these contracts. They just can't. It's irrefutable. People still try and argue this. Can't argue this. But Okada comes in. I like what they're doing. I like that Joe and Swerve, they're both fucking heels kind of, but it's working, whatever. You know, Swerve was invading homes and shit, and now he's just the big baby face like a month later. It's stupid, but so I like what AEW's doing, man. They're focusing on promos and vignettes. So we fast forward to the big business show. People are putting the show over. Actually, the AEW fans seem to be divided, I've seen. A lot of them are saying, I wasn't feeling the Mercedes shit. It felt too WWE. And this big business episode of Dynamite felt too WWE. But a lot of them are saying, dude, it was such an epic show, such an epic episode. I agree. This was yet again another fucking stellar front to back. Not stellar, but front to back Dynamite. Now, the main event was dumb, but they did that so they could play the quarter-hour trick with Mercedes so they can go, look, she's a draw. I'll explain that. We'll break that down in a minute. We have the fucking quarter hours here. But also, this was a good Dynamite, but some of the AEW fans are divided because it was very promo heavy and vignette heavy and good backstage segment heavy. And I'm going, holy shit, though, they've made me care about more people than, like, you know what I mean, dude? That's why NXT is so good, because of the stellar character work they're doing. We were just talking about it, like this, the character work, all of it is so good. In AEW, bro, the matches were shorter this week. The one that lost everyone was the fucking Young Bucks match. Their gimmick's cool, whatever. I'm feeling it. Okada's entrance is cool. I'm feeling it. But then they just randomly fight Pac, who came back. Sweet. That's cool, but then he's just with Eddie Kingston and fucking Penta, and it's like, what the fuck is this? So I tweeted it out. I was like, this match is going to start losing people. I think it was losing people because that's where I started kind of just tuning out of the show. The main event was Willow versus Riho, which I actually don't mind Riho. I like Willow, but that match for the main event of this big business show, like, what a shit main event, to be honest. Like, not hating on either of them, but what a shit main event. But they just did it so that Mercedes could do her run in, so they could do the quarter-hour trick. They had her at the very start, and they had her in at the overrun. So we're going to break that down in a bit. But I like what Dynamite's doing. This last episode of Dynamite was very vignette and promo heavy, and it was that's what they need to take from WWE. Why? Because it makes it feel more sports-based, and it tells me, and even if it's not sports-based, it just tells me everyone's vocation, and I care about them. It made me care about the Wardlow match that happened, which was a great match, even though If you go back months ago, Joe already squashed Wardlow, cut his hair, and fucking made him look like a joke, right? Took his belt, fucking whatever. And then Wardlow had to team up with a bunch of devil goofs to get his shot back at Joe. Why that was complete ass, made me forget about that. I feel like they're starting anew. But last week's ratings, I said, oh, it was a good Dynamite after a big pay-per-view where they had a big house for Sting, and it was a pretty good pay-per-view, too long. But the ratings were lower than the fucking go-home show, which were lower than the week before, man. And then this week, we have the ratings for Big Business, which was only up a little bit.
Wow.
Unfortunately, Mercedes, we're going to get into it. We'll break it down. That's the sizzle to the steak, as Hairline would say. But Paul Nolan, it's so good having you here because I want your thoughts on just basically what you saw. So as you explained, I was off podcast. You don't get Dynamite in the UK until Friday it airs. And so, but you watched everything on their YouTube, which is great. So, just from what you saw, I want your thoughts on all of that. But basically, I just want to say AEW, keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to get people like me putting it over more. And those fucking weirdo marks who just like move porn are going to hate on it. Let them hate on it because they can get move porn anywhere, and give them their move porn on the pay-per-views. That's what WWE does. It's how you fucking you know what I'm saying? So, and they're trying to get a streaming deal and all this. So I'm telling you, the ratings are dipping a little bit now because AEW has such bad faith, but stick with it like TNA, and TNA showed you can turn it around a bit. So, but overall though, sorry, before I hand it off to Paul Nolan, Mercedes's promo and shit, I liked it. Her music where they're chanting CEO, smart. It got over immediately. They drew a good house. It was 8,000 people, whatever. SmackDown's doing fucking 13,000. This, they wiped their ass with 10,000 people. So 8,000's really one time. What's next week going to do? Another 2 or 3? Like, hopefully the house gets bigger. But Mercedes, though, I liked her promo as well. I liked her debut. Her little run out at the end was whatever. But the crowd was really into it. It came off well on TV, and I just felt like the production was really on point because AEW looks really good when they aren't shooting around an empty building, because it's so noticeable when they're shooting around an empty building. When they actually have a house, it fucking looks good. Their production can be on point. So I just hope next week they can continue this good momentum, even though I don't know, man. I guess the AEW fans are divided. But your thoughts on everything you saw from Big Business, and then let's get into the numbers.
Yeah, so I'm going to start this with a bit of a confession that, I'll be honest, after going to All In last year, it kind of really put me off AEW. So I hadn't actually solidly watched AEW in a while. Mm-hmm. So actually watching it from the perspective of obviously talking to yourself, Phil, I was actually really impressed with the production. The production has improved significantly, and I hate to say it, it does look a little more WWE.
Yeah, but it's good, but in a good way.
In a good way, yeah, because it actually it frames everything in a better way. And I just wonder, everything you've just said there around the fact that you're starting to care a little bit more, do you think that this is the influence of Jennifer Pepperman already?
I think it is the influence of her and Sasha, Mercedes. I think Mercedes came in there and went, Tony, I'm going to do this, but we're going to make a change. We have to really make a fucking impact here, and Pepperman will help do that. And maybe it is. They also brought in, if you think about it, a handful of months ago, they brought in some old WWE producer guys or whatever. And it takes you a few months to kind of see the effects of these people who come in, as a creative or whatever. I would say we're starting to see it all sort of come together, and Tony Khan's made it clear, and he admitted it. They're a challenger brand, and everyone goes, I don't give a fuck about TV numbers. But Tony Khan does, or he wouldn't be in the fucking TV business. He would just have bought PWG and ran shows in a gym and not put it on TV if he didn't care. He cares. So I think we're starting to slowly see that all come together. And I think for sure she had some influence, especially over Sasha shit. She probably wrote Sasha shit. I will be critical of one thing, though. Tony Khan books every woman's return/debut the same way. It's woman has a match with woman wins, woman gets attacked by two women, woman runs down and saves woman, and then they get booked in a tag match, and that's their debut or return. Thunder Rosa, Abaddon, Monet. I could go down the fucking list. Athena debuted that way. Paige, Saraya debuted that way. I could go down the fucking list. So it's just the same booking bullshit, but Monet's a big star, clearly, as far as like their presentation and what they see in her, da-da-da-da. But sorry, you continue with your thoughts.
Yeah, so I obviously watched everything that I could watch. I watched the Mercedes Monet promo this morning and the whole thing, and you know, it was okay. Like, I'll be honest, it didn't rock my world. I mean, if one of the big criticisms of Punk's first promo back was that it was a bit safe, right? And he was kind of just, and I loved it actually because Punk's promo, he there was a lot of layers to it actually, and it was unfolding as the weeks went on, and you realized afterwards just how clever it was. But this, it just felt like let's just get through this. I'm just gonna say the standard stuff. Because again, I don't think it's any secret that actually, like Mercedes, like her weak point's always been on the mic. Like she's never been the best promo. You know, as far as
that's why she brought her writer for sure.
Well, of course, 100%, 100%. But for me, it's like it's an interesting situation with her because she looked like a big star in the context of Dynamite. But I also feel like she's also somebody who has found her level here. And it's going to be very interesting. And what I really thought was, well, it's interesting that she's already talking about going back to WWE. And
I know.
Yeah, that was just wild. And then,
but you know it though. You know it.
Yeah, of course. But also as well, like you look at, go back to NXT for a second. You look at some of the talent in NXT, you can see why they passed on Mercedes because they've got that much stuff, you know, that many like amazing female Valerie LeRae that I know you're a massive fan of her. You know, you look at what Tiffany's doing on the main roster now, and they're like, yeah. Okay,
well, here's the thing. Do you think that Mercedes has like banger matches with all the women on the roster, or do you think that she's like an Edge and we'll just see her like once a month, maybe?
Who is there to have bangers with?
Well, like, that's the thing. I don't Riho, Jamie Hayter.
I can count them on one hand. Like, you know, obviously you've got Britt whenever she turns back up.
Can she have a banger with Britt? Britt's not in the fucking ring. That's why when we see Britt, she's not, because she works part-time, but she's not she's not that good enough to be doing that yet in her career.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, to be honest,
Thunder Rosa, like to me, if it's my Fed, dude,
that was exactly
Thunder Rosa and fucking my top four ladies are Thunder Rosa, Athena, Sasha, Jamie when she comes back, Saraya just for her popularity, just in the mix. Those are like my top 5-6 girls, you know, but like it seems as though that she's going to go after Julia Hart in the TBS title because Hart and Sky Blue attack Willow. And it's just, look at your face. It's like, what? It's like, exactly. What are we going to, what is that? Like, why is she going to be on TV every single week? Is she going to be that person? Hopefully.
I had the exact same look on my face at the end of the Elite match when Okada was going after Eddie Kingston's bullshit. What is it?
I hate that they shoehorn into these legend Japanese matches so he can just mark out and he comes out with 3 belts and it's like, so this is the baddest ass guy on your roster. Like he's got 3 belts, right? So this must be the best guy on your roster, and he does these fucking shitty chops.
Makes no sense to me. It's like you're going to sign people like Okada and Mercedes Moné, and you're going to have them scrap for mid-card titles.
Dude, what
are you doing? Exactly. I'm sorry. No, absolutely not. Like, there needs to be a hot, like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of like hot shotting people towards like, you know, main title challenges.
Yeah.
But like, you know, come on. Like Mercedes is a level above everyone in terms of like stature and, you know, the ability to draw. But the thing is, it takes 2 people to draw and make money. And on the women's side, it's like they can't just rely on Mercedes. Like, you know, they need somebody there to be the B side of that in order to, you know, make that be something that's going to fill houses. And I'm not seeing it. The thing that I was thinking all the way through the promo was, like,
Is Julia Hart that person? Who is it?
No,
Julia Hart?
absolutely
Is it?
not. Absolutely
So
not. Like, what
I
I was
think their
thinking all the
goal,
way through.
yeah, I think their
All
goal,
the way
sorry,
through.
is eventually, sorry, you get Tony and Sasha down the line, or Mercedes, pardon me, I got to get out of that habit, down the line. And then you have down the line eventually, but then you also have Mercedes and Jamie Hayter, I think is who they're going to build up for the big Wembley show. But sorry, what were you going to say?
No, what I was saying all the way through the Mercedes promo. I was just sat there thinking, well, we'll see where we're at in a month when, you know, they're in front of 2,000 people in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, on Collision,
And
like
on Collision.
and you're
Like, I
wrestling
mean, another thing,
Abaddon. Fucking
what the hell are they doing giving away a card as debut in AEW on Collision?
yeah, I don't know,
Like, it
man.
makes
I don't know.
zero sense to me.
Do you think this is Tony's play at like, look, we have Edge and Sasha Banks as our holy shit. Okay, I'm never not calling Edge. So get that out of your fucking brains, guys. Okay? But I'm an Edge head from way back, but Mercedes Moné, pardon me. Do you think that Tony's play is like, look, there are TNT and TBS champions, and hopefully this will bring the ratings up. And here, Warner, like, look at because the rumors are like they might get moved to True TV because Warner wants to turn, because Warner wants to turn True TV into like a sports and entertainment focused network and stuff. And so everyone, that's what I put out there.
Wow.
Other people have said it. What do you think, man? Do you think this is Tony's way of like, no, keep us on mainstream TV, like, or like, keep us on TNT?
Well, if you would let's just say, for example, like, if you're looking at piano, let's turn the black keys white for a second, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it was the other side, what you're effectively talking about doing is putting the Intercontinental title on Roman Reigns in the hope of getting a new TV deal.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense whatsoever.
So
like,
stupid.
why would you do that? And obviously we can't even talk about that in WWE because there is no mid-card title. By the way, I am of the opinion that they need a women's Intercontinental title in WWE. I actually think that would be a fantastic
Someone convinced me of it. They were like, dude, you have the China Memorial Battle Royal for the first ever women's Intercontinental title, because she held the Intercontinental title. That's what you do with all the women at WrestleMania this year. And I think that's a good fucking idea. And also, because I was against it up until that idea. And then after that, just like you have the men's Andre Battle Royal one night, you have the women's China Memorial another night. And fuck it.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, she did porn. Like, fuck all that. They're letting Wheatley sponsor WrestleMania and shit. So I don't know.
But anyway, in terms of the AEW stuff, like, I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, you sign supposedly the biggest free agent in wrestling, and in Okada, this absolute legend, and you're paying him $4.5 million a year.
Yeah, we got to talk numbers. We got to talk numbers. So you just said it. They signed Okada, right? He's getting $4 million, $4.5 million, something like that, right? Which is unheard of money. But good for him. I'm never going to hate anybody for...
Go and get the bag.
Yeah, go and get the fucking bag. But let's talk, I guess, money. So Mercedes Moné AEW contract is reportedly over $10 million a year.
What?
For 3 to 5 years, with an opt-out option going into the third year. So she can going into the third year, she can opt out of doing the last 2 years. This makes her the highest paid women's wrestler in history by a mile. Some will say Tony overpaid her. Truth be told, she's worth every penny. This was via All Elite Wrestling Tracker, or at Monet Stardom. So this is a Stan account for her / AEW seemingly, or I don't know, they call it a tracker. So maybe they track stuff. I'd have to deep dive into their Twitter, which I'm not going to do. But this could be entirely false. However, I don't know, like over 10 million. I don't know if these people are trolling. But here's the thing with Edge. I know it's like, he has like a 3-year deal as well. When he's like, I'm here for years, he's really there for like 3 years, I think, with like an option or something. That's like how Tony does some of these deals, from what I've heard. And I don't know, I could be getting fed bullshit as well. I'm not a dirt sheet, brother, so I don't. But this is just what people have, told me in the DMs or whatever. Yeah, so I don't know if this is real, but let's say it is real. 10 million. I mean, if Okada's only there for 4 million, whatever. I don't know. Let's say it's half that. Let's say they gave her 5 million a year. So she stays there for 3 years, makes 15 million, goes back to WWE. Is that not worth it? Like, that's it? I'd do the same shit. You know what I mean? I'd go there, fucking take the money, come back, and do the same shit. And Tony will give me time off to go be in fucking Mandalorian or whatever, Star Wars or whatever she's doing, because she's acting and stuff. She goes to all these red carpet events. So her brand's just getting bigger and shit. And I don't know, like, you can't even say, oh, it tarnishes her legacy because she's so young still. Like, she can go another probably 10 years in the tank. So let's go make this type of money and then go have your WrestleMania moment. Say with Okada, apparently he's on like 3 years. It's like, hey, go make fucking 20 million or whatever Tony's willing to give you, and then go have your WrestleMania moment. Triple H will have Okada in 3 years at WrestleMania still. So
you took the words out of my mouth there, Phil, because honestly, it's like I can see it from WWE's perspective of like, well, you're not a competition.
Yeah, but and we'll give you 2 mil or 1 mil or 500K, but you already got your 20 mil, so just come here after and you're all good,
Yeah, and I mean, I can imagine Triple H turning around to Mercedes and, a few others saying, just don't arrive here too, like, medically fucked up.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear, dude, is that what if she starts, like, she gets hurt like Punk did her first match or something?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, she ain't been wrestling. I don't know, and I'm not trying to be like she's not durable, but she's had injuries. She's had classic matches, and she's wrestled in front of the video boards. She's wrestled in front of the fucking gyms with like. She's someone who, I don't know. She's kind of.
I've got to say this. Yeah, she's definitely had classic matches, but she's always been surrounded by insane talent.
Yeah,
Charlotte, Becky,
Bailey,
Bailey, Bianca. Think about like all the classic matches she's had.
Woo!
This is the first time where it's like, oh, you might actually have to carry these matches for the first time. You might have to be the one calling the spots and looking after your dance partner, shall we say? And it's like, we all know AEW's work style is questionable at times from a safety perspective. Although apparently it's the safest place ever. And
safest place ever. It's Disneyland. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. I love the slight Mickey Mouse-ness in that impression of Tony that you do. It's amazing. So it's so true, right? But it's the first time that she's going to have to be the leader because she's always had strong people around her. And now
I have faith she can step up. I have faith she can step up for sure. My buddy Marty McFlyer, shout him out. Susio Boys podcast, shout those guys out. 2-time Grammy winner, 2-time. He is like, Sasha's worth every fucking penny of the 10 million and this and that, and he's a big fan of hers. And I say, sure, like, fucking give her the money. Like, fucking, I'm down for people to make money. Here's the thing. He says, though, he's like, now she'll get more when she goes back to WWE. No. Punk didn't get more. These people aren't getting more. They're taking a bit of a pay cut, but the payoff in the long run is bigger because once they leave the WWE, that's like legacy shit. And if you can make an imprint there, and I don't know, the payoff's you make more money in the long run if you're a big star, but you make more money up front if you go chill with Tony. That's what it is.
And also, as well, in terms of longevity, WWE for the people like Punk, for example, like, you've got to imagine that could potentially be a job for life for him.
It is. It is.
Like Legends, not just Legends contract. I'm talking like that guy's probably one of the best commentators in all of pro wrestling.
Commentary, coaching. Look at all the time he's spending in NXT.
Yeah, fighting with Booker T backstage, you can still get.
I'd be too, motherfucker. I'd be too. You see those ladies in NXT lately, dude? My God, what a crop of talent!
And that's the other thing I love about the whole thing on Twitter is like people are like, sure, Michaels might be a God-fearing man these days, but he sure know how to sign those ladies.
Oh yeah, dude.
So we'll see on Sasha, right? We'll see on Mercedes.
We'll see on Mercedes.